Hello everyone, Flick here and welcome to another contrast paint video, and today we're doing for you from Gotham City Chronicles. That's going to be a hard habit to break. We have Rebirth Batman, which is one of the Season 2 minis. Also, this is going to be the first painting video I've tried with the new camera. It's a little awkward because it's bigger than my last camera, so it's kind of in my way, so there might be a little bit more done off camera, but we'll show you the gist on camera of the contrast work. Just because it's much larger, it's in my way, it's going to be very awkward to hold and paint, but we'll try it. Hopefully, the difference in picture quality, I don't know how much more can I zoom in here, can I get in here a lot? Yeah, it seems like I can. Hopefully the better picture quality makes up for it. We'll stay at that kind of range like we do usually. So this is based in Gracier, but it is in blue plastic, which you'll have seen if you watched the unboxing, and you can probably tell some of the blue is actually shining through because it's a very vibrant blue. Usually one layer of Gracier is enough to kind of get rid of base, like the God tier minis that are red and blue and whatnot. They kind of get covered up by Gracier pretty well. It struggled with this shade of blue for whatever reason. Also, this is a little bit of an anniversary because I think I launched tabletop gaming in, it was either July, like the end of July, or just on August 1st. And one of the first non-40k miniatures I painted with contrast paint was Rebirth Batman from the Batman miniature game by Night Models. So this is two versions of the same Batman. So we're going to be doing the exact same color scheme, but we're going to see how contrast does on this kind of pose. I will say this is not the first Gotham City Chronicles miniature I've painted. I've actually already tested a couple, and I'll show you in a second because one of them is relevant. But yeah, we're going to be using Shyless Purple for the inside of the cape. We're going to be using Black Templar for the cowl, the gloves, the boots, the belt, the insignia, Basilicanum Grey for the base, and his leotard, I don't know, on the same mini, and we'll see who wears it better. But to go back to Gotham City Chronicles miniatures in particular, we'll just put this to one side for a second. Painted up Shen Fang. I'll give you a better look at these when we do the next, like, getting stuff painted update. But this was my first test because I don't particularly care about Shen Fang, so I was like, just try them, see how contrast paint works on these minis, and I think they work pretty well, honestly. But yeah, we'll get a better look at him later. Now, what's a bit more relevant is Batman Beyond, because he, much like this one we're going to be painting, big wingspan, and the plastic is very, very flat, and contrast paint doesn't do well with that. Night Model's resin actually being a little bit bubbly helps it take to a little bit better on the, briefly bring that back, like curvy, and it works better on that kind of cape with lots of creases. So if we look at, what's his name again? I've forgotten his name again. McGinnis, Toby McGinnis. If we look at his wings, one coat of Black Templar was not enough because of how flat the plastic is. I think that's 2 or 3 layers to get it just to that. So it isn't the contrast one thick coat. That strategy does not work on large flat areas like that because of how smooth it is. So on the back of this cape for Rebirth Batman, probably going to have to do the same thing. Not going to do it on camera because I have to let one layer dry first, but I will say it's not necessarily going to be as quick as usual. First step though for the first time skip is going to be Shyless Purple on the interior of the cape, and then that's going to have to dry before I touch up anything else, but then we'll probably do the greys next. Well, no, actually, no, what, we'll probably do the blacks next, then do the greys because we can do the base at the same time. So that's the plan. Let's get started. So we're at first check-in, and here's how the Shyless Purple is looking. It might need a second coat as well because it was kind of flat on the inside. And new camera, new challenges. As I said, it's much wider or longer than the camera I was using before. I was using a DSLR before. This is an actual proper camera. So it's very difficult to find an angle to be painting and still have it in frame. So I'm not sure what I can do about that. Hopefully most of it was in frame. We'll see. The next part is going to be the most of the miniature because we're going to use Black Templar contrast. Cowl, cape, belt, boots, gloves. All of that done, and then that will need to dry before we attempt the grey on the base and the armour. And again, probably needing multiple coats on the back of the cape here just because of how flat it is. Although it does have little kind of like creases here that might catch it enough. We'll see. That's what we're going to find out in the next part. So the black contrast still has a little bit of drying time, but we're doing the check-in now. Cleaned it up a little bit with grey cere. Also during the time skip I totally forgot to do the insignia and the belt, so did that off camera. Cleaned up his jaw with some grey cere, and also on the back, which is why it's still wet, applied another layer just to give it a thicker look. It was looking, it probably could still use a third one honestly, but I'll leave that for now just to see how it ends up because the creases are still drying. But we are now ready to move on. We're going to use Gillman Flesh for Batman's trademark chin, and then Basilicanum Grey for the rest of his bodysuit, and also the base. We'll just need to hold on to the wings. That's what I'm going to have to... We'll make sure it's perfectly dry before doing the next section. Actually, I see there's a little white dot in there. There's a little bit of escape. I don't know if that's getting picked up, but there's a little bit in there that needs done. But that'll get fixed. So there's one more time skip, and then we'll do the non-contrast stuff in a fade out, fade in, because the Rebirth costume, as we saw in the Night Models one, has a yellow outline on his bat insignia and on the belt buckles as well, but whether or not I can attempt that, we'll see. But yes, let's do the last of the contrast work. So we're ready to do the final finishing touches to the miniature to get it looking like the Night Models Batman Rebirth. As previously discussed, forgot to mention though, also be using a little bit of normal Abaddon Black to go around the rim of the base. Might also use that on some parts of the cape, haven't decided yet. I'm going to leave it to dry a little bit longer first. Got to wait for the grey to dry as well, obviously, before I can do the cleanup on the insignia and the belt. But for you, it will just be a fade out and fade in to the finished miniature. And so sometime later we have the finished Batman Rebirth model from Gotham City Chronicles Season 2. I think it turned out okay. We'll do our Ghetto 360 spin before we do the comparisons to the Night Models one. Let's go this way. The yellow isn't fantastic, but it's about the best I can do. I kind of regret not using a different shade of yellow, although that is more accurate to the colour it is, but... And I don't think the back cape is needing another coat. I think it looks okay as is. The interior, the purple interior, I'm torn on whether that could do with another coat. I'm not going to, but you could definitely probably get away with it. You can tilt up a little bit to see how his face turned out as well. A little bit there. So, we come over here. There is the old Night Models one. I kind of like it's like step 1, step 2, or he swooped down and then he just stood there heroically. I guess I should put the one on the right with the better lighting. So I don't know, who wore it better? The colouring, like the paints used on both are identical. The models are obviously, one is resin, one is plastic. Both took to contrast well. One looks more dynamic but also less accurately proportioned. Night Models goes for as realistic as possible. Gotham City Chronicles is like halfway between realistic and comic book. Like very over the top comic book I mean. But at the very least I would say they're comparable enough for a mini I painted way back when these contrast videos started, and now it's essentially the same more or less. Oh, for the base I also added some aggressor shade into the cracks just to add a bit more definition to it. I'm not sure if I like that yet or not, but it's kind of what I'm trying with these Gotham City Chronicles minis. So that is going to do it. I hope you enjoyed watching. It's going to be a while before some Gotham City content well, beyond the unboxing of Season 1 gets on the channel, because there's a lot of henchmen and whatnot to paint up to play a game. But there will be a Batman miniature game coming soon, not featuring this Batman, but just wanted him for comparison's sake because it's the same one. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching, and also we can just quickly maybe pan out a little bit and bring back in the other two Gotham City Chronicles minis that have been painted with contrast so far. You'll get a better look at them and these minis again once there's too many wings. Too many wings. Once the next Getting Stuff Painted goes live. But thank you for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed, and see you in the future. Ta-ta for now.